Want to hear a secret? I know you do.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 behind-the-scenes secrets about One Tree Hill.
Hi, friend. Girl. Boy. What's the latest scandal?
If you want somebody to do it so badly, get somebody else to do it.
I need to tell you something.
For this list, we're looking at behind-the-scenes facts about the hit drama. Did we miss anything? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Haley almost wasn't a singer. Music is a huge part of the show's identity, and a big component of this was Haley's incredible voice. From Halo to Feel This, every time she performed, everyone stood to attention. But it turns out the character's musical talent was completely unplanned.
Can you feel this? My heart beating out of my chest.
It was only written into the show once they discovered what an amazing singer Bethany Joy Lenz is in real life. It ended up being a huge part of who Haley was, so it's crazy to think that it almost wasn't part of her storyline at all.
You say it's not right for you, but it's right for me.
It just goes to show that sometimes the best things happen unexpectedly. Number 9. The Scott brothers were almost played by each other. Originally, the creator of the series, Mark Schwann, wanted Chad Michael Murray to play Nathan Scott.
Game point for Nathan. He could win it all right here.
However, Murray connected more with the part of Lucas, so that's the role that he was ultimately cast in. As a result, when James Lafferty auditioned to play Lucas afterwards, the part was already taken, and it's a good thing it was, because he got the role of Nathan instead.
Congratulations. Well, we'll have to celebrate later.
The rest is Tree Hill history. It's hard to believe, but if fans are wondering what the switch would have been like, there is an episode where Nathan dreams up an alternate universe in which Dan married Karen instead of Deb.
Daddy teach you how to drive?
Yeah, he sends his love. Now get out of my way, loser.
It's certainly entertaining to watch, but we'd say the final casting was spot on.
So what'd you bet?
I win, Nathan stays on the team.
Why?
Because it's the last thing he wants.
Number 8. Chad Michael Murray was bad at basketball. Even more so than music, basketball plays a major role in the show.
The Ravens are going to win or lose it right here!
Unfortunately, it didn't come naturally to Murray. In fact, it was quite the opposite. He struggled to a point where they hired someone to help him out. Unlike Lucas, Chad was never a basketball player.
4 guys in the park? That's not exactly basketball.
Well, then what do you think we're doing out there?
In fact, he grew up playing a different sport entirely, football. There's actually a few nods to this in the show. Notably, the pictures of Murray as a kid featured on the show are often of him in his football uniform. James Lafferty, on the other hand, had no trouble making game-winning shots because he played high school basketball.
You got nothing, Scott. Nothing.
Number 7. Hillary Burton didn't like the Psycho Derek storyline.
You shouldn't lie, Peyton. It's not very nice.
It was one of the show's more intense narrative arcs, so we can understand her hesitation. But there's actually more to it than that. Burton Morgan revealed on an episode of the Chicks in the Office podcast that a big factor in how violent Psycho Derek got with her was that it drew in male viewers. What's worse, her bosses took it as a positive. Understandably, the actress was upset by this. It definitely makes us look at that whole plot point differently.
Because we have a lot more than some podcasts and a few webcam photos, Ian Banks.
Thankfully, she found a silver lining in the fact that Matt Barr, the actor behind the role, was a lovely person to have on set. Number 6. Sophia Bush's multiple auditions. It's impossible to imagine anyone other than Sophia Bush bringing the iconic Brooke Davis to life.
Breakfast Club, you were the priss.
Let me guess, you were the stoner?
But it turns out that she actually had to audition not once, not twice, but 3 times before getting the part. And the reason for this was questionable to say the least.
It was like, we filmed this TV show, and there's all these kids, and it's really depressing.
It had nothing to do with executives doubting her acting skill, but was instead about her appearance.
Okay, so these are just prototypes, but I introduce you to my new line, Clothes Over Bros.
As she describes it, she was first told she was not sexy enough. She was then told after her second audition that her skirt was too short. Finally, at her third attempt, she was cast. Sophia undoubtedly made B. Davis her own, and we love her for it.
Oh my gosh!
You made that?
I made that.
Number 5. The story behind the dog eating Dan's heart. Who could forget the intense moment where Dan is about to get the heart transplant he so desperately needs, only to have a dog eat it? It's one of the craziest and most outrageous things to ever happen on One Tree Hill, which is really saying something. And it turns out it started as a joke in the writer's room when they were brainstorming ideas to make sure Dan suffered a little longer.
Mom called me, told me there's a problem. What's up? Oh, he didn't tell you? Dog ate. What?
He was the show's principal villain for much of its run after all, and his redemption couldn't be too easy. Somehow, out of all the pitches that were thrown out, this one actually made its way into the show. And if you're wondering about the specifics, it was actually a pig's heart. Number 4. Fighting for female friendships. The bonds formed between the cast were almost sabotaged. On an episode of Dax Shepard's podcast, Sophia Bush described how their boss would try to drive a wedge between them by spreading rumors.
Our boss really liked to talk a lot of shit that wasn't true.
To try to
each of
start
us about
stuff.
the other.
Not only that, Hillary Burton Morgan once revealed on Chicks in the Office that her friendship with Sophia Bush survived despite the producer's best efforts. She explained that they continuously tried pitting them against each other. Luckily, they failed, as Bush and Burton Morgan realized they were stronger together.
You're tougher than anything it throws your way.
Hillary actually describes Peyton and Brooke's friendship as being the love story of the show, and we totally agree. So here's a big thank you to the women who made that possible.
Because the love stories with all the boys, those are fun, those are important. But Sophia and I had to fight for our own friendship, because a lot of people wanted to pit us against each other.
Number 3, Sophia Bush fought back against inappropriate scenes. It's no secret that Sophia Bush isn't afraid to fight for what's right. Well, it turns out that was true even in her One Tree Hill days.
I am who I am. No excuses.
During an appearance on Pretty Big Deal with Ashley Graham, she described how her boss and the show's writers kept asking her to play scenes in her underwear. Considering that her character was a teenager, she pushed back, despite her boss making lewd remarks in response.
I'm not doing this. This is inappropriate. Like, I don't think this is what we should be teaching 16-year-old girls to be doing and to be seeking validation this way.
She explains that she's much more aware today of how important this was and how risky it could have been given the power dynamics at play.
You gotta take a stand, Jamie. If you start giving in now, it's just gonna get worse. Trust me.
We're glad she made her voice heard and fought for both herself and Brooke. Number 2, producers exploited the actors' personal lives. As the characters were growing up in Tree Hill, so too was the cast.
How'd you feel about that?
Honestly, I was pissed.
They were young adults finding their place in the world.
Lucas, Brooke and I have been best friends since elementary school. We've always put our friendship before guys.
What's disconcerting is that the producers reportedly took advantage of this. On a 2018 episode of Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard, Sophia Bush revealed that they would run commercials surrounding the cast's private business in a bid for higher ratings.
They made practice of taking advantage of people's personal lives. And not just for me and for my ex, for other actors on the show who would share, like, as you do when you get close to people, deeply personal things that were happening in their lives.
And as if that on its own wasn't bad enough, she also described how personal things they were going through were often written into the show. Bush described it as opportunistic and ugly.
And you? I know your type. I used to be a bit of a bitch just for the sake of being one, but now I am a bitch for the sake of my friends and family. You do not want to test that.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Tree Hill was almost in Illinois. North Carolina was a warmer alternative.
There is only one Tree Hill. And it's your home.
It was almost a film. We nearly spent 2 hours watching Ravens.
I think it works even better if An Unkindness of Ravens is serialized. You know, make it a TV show instead of a movie.
Isn't that a lot like The Creek?
To some degree, sure, but it'll have its own voice.
Bethany Joy Lenz had to dye her hair. P. Sawyer was the only blonde girl.
You been reading this?
I don't know, Haley. Is that the why do I hang out with these people issue because you're on the cover of that, right?
No, actually, it's the My Best Friend is an Idiot issue. And there you are.
Sophia Bush improvised her monologue in the series finale. It came from the heart.
This is where it all happened for the first time. The heartache and the happiness. All of it.
Nobody was in every episode. Sophia Bush appeared in all of them except the pilot.
And I liked it that way on my own. But then I met you, and you saw through the facade. You saw me.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Misconduct allegations. In 2017, 18 women from the crew and cast of One Tree Hill wrote an open letter to Variety accusing the show's creator, Mark Schwann, of harassment and assault. Hillary Burton Morgan and Danielle Ackles are among those who have spoken more in depth about it. Their stories are devastating, to put it mildly. In her book, Burton Morgan revealed that she left the show because she was unhappy and wanted to live more intentionally, but the effects of the mistreatment lingered. She's since explained that she now only works with people she knows. Tree Hill was a safe haven for many viewers, so it's heartbreaking that the same wasn't always true behind the scenes.
Is that you don't have any responsibility to any of those people. Not to them, not to me. You have to find what makes you happy.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.